Hi, my name's Sarah Gillis, and the article I chose to analyze for my Sociology 100 class is How Love Emerges in Arranged Marriages, Two Cross-Culture Studies. This article was written by Epstein, Pendant, and Thunker, published in 2013. It can be found in the Journal of Comparative Family Studies. There were two studies conducted, and they wanted to find out how or if love can emerge in arranged marriage, and would there be different answers based on different cultures. The independent variable in a study can be defined as the cause of something, while the dependent variable would be the effect of something. In this particular study, the independent variable for the first study was the amount of commitment in an arranged marriage, and for the second study was the amount of commitment or the amount of sacrifice in an arranged marriage. The dependent variable for the two studies was the strength of love in an arranged marriage. For the first study, the dependent variable would be the commitment in the marriage, and the second study dependent variable would be the sacrifice and commitment in the marriage. The researchers wanted to know if married couples who had arranged marriage were more committed to each other with the lack of love in the beginning of their marriage versus married couples who got married because of love. The research method used for the first study was an interview survey, and the second study was an online survey. The first study had a sample of 30 people who were married between 2006 and February 2009. There were 14 males and 16 females in this study. The sample was made up of people from all over the world with all different religions, mostly from cultures that still practice arranged marriages, such as Japan, Hindu, and Korean, and many others. The participants were interviewed by either phone or email. The results to the first study said that researchers found the length of time couples were married, there were more commitment, which was a big factor in the amount of love the spouses had for each other. Only two participants could not offer an answer as to why their love increased over time. The second study sample was made up of 22 people who were married between May 2009 and February 2012. 13 were male, 9 were female. Many of these participants were from the same cultures as the first study. Participants were asked to be in the study by networking or an online discussion group. The results for the second study said that couples rated their love for one another higher in the beginning of their marriage than in the previous study. It is important for researchers to be aware of ethical issues with all their studies in order to avoid being sued or upsetting the participants. Researchers were aware of many ethical concerns in this article. In the first study, if the participants were interviewed over the phone, they were asked if it was okay if the phone call was recorded. An ethical concern researchers should be aware of are the participants' religion and customs, so as not to offend them and their culture in any way. Also, the researchers should try and protect the participants' identity, so that participants wouldn't be embarrassed should their marriage not be the happiest. The most interesting part to a sociologist would be how the different cultures and environment influence whether or not marriages were arranged. Also, the way a person is raised could be a factor as to whether or not a person is happy in the marriage. If a person grew up being told that by their parents or elders that an arranged marriage was the only way to have a happy marriage, then it's pretty safe to say that's what they would think. The most interesting part of this article for a psychologist would be people who come from cultures that have arranged marriages normally, and how their mind is shaped to think that an arranged marriage is the right way for a marriage to work. The second article I located is Why Would Such a Person Dream About Heaven? This can be found in the Journal of Comparative Family Studies. It was published in 2013 and it is by Jennifer Bowman and David Dahlheit. This article relates to my first article because it talks about how love how love can emerge in them. It talks about how Hindu religions practice that. However, unlike the first study, in this study they found for a fulfilling marriage in the Hindu culture was through an example of parents and the parents' wisdom when it comes to choosing a spouse.